Folks, what's up? Oh my goodness, this is a very, very special episode. I'm honored to have Pastor Sean Moon on. Why don't you introduce yourself from people whom, I mean, they'll see the thumbnail, but.
Yes, sir.
Right. Well, how would you describe yourself? Go ahead.
DJ Elf, it's a great honor to be on your program, and thank you for all the work that you're doing in the city and in New York in general. And yeah, you know, I'm the heir to Reverend Moon, who is the founder of the Unification Church and the founder of the Washington Times. You know, after he passed, there was a split in the church, and my mother went a different direction. So I was put as an heir. She kind of removed me from all the boards, and so I had to start my own, a church, which is called a Sanctuary Church or Rodavine Ministries. She went in a totally opposite direction, which was opposite to our entire theology. So I couldn't support that, unfortunately. Yeah. It's a great honor to reach out. Thank you for reaching out. It's a great honor to be on your show, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So interesting. Okay. So the thing is that I hear stuff about the the moon, stuff like that. Do you think that there's any misconceptions that are popular misconceptions that are carried by the media or
Well, yeah, my father he created the biggest anti-communist movement. I'm sorry, I got this camera just on my phone here, and I'm kind of propping it up here, so forgive me if it's moving around. But yes, my father was he created the biggest anti-communist movement in the 20th century. I mean, church movement. He was he was born in North Korea, and he was imprisoned under 5 different countries under colonial Japan. He was imprisoned under the North Koreans and the South Koreans. He was imprisoned in America by the Democrats. And basically, whenever they imprisoned him for preaching. So in North Korea, obviously, you can't preach. That's illegal. That gives you the imprisonment and hard labor and in the death camp. And he was in Hungnam death camp in 1950. And I usually have a chain that has like 596 on it. That was his prison number. And he was freed by MacArthur and the U.S. Armed Forces in 1950. And then he was, his ministry then began in South Korea, etc. Eventually came to the U.S. in the 70s and began the Washington Times. After he got out of prison, he started different magazines, like very strong conservative magazines in New York. And then he also started them in D.C. And so the left started, the left started coming after him pretty heavy. He had because of his anti-communist stance, he called communism political Satanism. So it was not just a political movement, and sort of what Marx was dreaming about, the fruition of the collapse after capitalism fails, so to speak. But he taught that it's the apparatus of Satan, the 666 beast apparatus of Satan on the earth. So it's just like God uses people as his hands and feet. Satan has to use people also as his hands and feet. And the apparatus, which has many heads and it's beast that goes across many nations, is centralized government, is communism. So, he created anti-communist movements almost in every country. After the fall of the Soviet Union, Gorbachev actually came to our house in South Korea. And Gorbachev, he gave props to my father, Father Moon, for being a major factor in bringing down communism. We trained over 40,000 Russians in anti-communist, study and teaching, which we call Victory over Communism. And so, we've been active in Japan, in South Korea, against communism since the 50s and 60s. So that's mainly where the media is coming from. All the media, like President Trump says, like the fake news left, they hate anybody that is against their end goal, which is basically a type of Marxism or communism, socialism, a type of centralized government to control of everything.
Okay, so that's. I got a quick question for you. Yeah, this is super fascinating. Have you ever heard of something called Radio Korea in Los Angeles?
I think, yeah, I think I heard. I've heard of. I think I've heard that. It
Okay,
seems to ring a bell.
during the LA riots, like the Koreans actually went on the rooftops and all this other thing, and actually
Yes.
Video Korea was responsible for helping to organize the people and save them,
Yeah.
or tell them like like
Right.
there's people approaching, or this is safe, there's a safe route or whatever. So that's
Yeah.
some really crazy work. Cool. I appreciate that. There's a new show that they have called K-Town Social with this guy who's affiliated with this group called PSL. These communists, I feel like a lot of Koreans, American kids, I don't know if you've experienced this yourself. I've even seen this in Pennsylvania. I don't know about Tennessee,
Mhm.
but a lot of them get sucked up into this communist route. Have you seen that
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah. No, that's definitely the case. I mean, they grew up in, the parents work hard, and they proportionally they do well as a family. And
Have you seen
um,
that show, K-Town Social?
what was that? I'm sorry.
Have you seen the show, K-Town Social?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. There's actually two guys on there who are just always pushing communism. I'm not saying that, like,
Wow.
I have my own problem with communism that I wouldn't, when I was growing up, I didn't really, I wasn't really taught it, right? I was open to
Yes.
the idea, but seeing it in actuality, I've really been find it very disturbing. And the fact of the matter is
Yes.
that they refuse to have a debate with me on their issues. And I will challenge Doug Kim. I'm gonna call you out. David, right? I'm gonna call you out. They're on K-Town Social on Radio Korea. You guys are communists. I want you. If you guys won't have a discussion with me, have a discussion with Sean Moon, Pastor Sean, please, on communism, please, please. All right,
Go-
please.
they gotta get it.
did.
They gotta go check out North Korea. See how well communism works out.
Hey, look, I don't really know what's going on in North Korea. I don't trust anything. All you told me right now is like brand new. Like my mind just got blown. I did not know. They don't teach this in school. You can't find it on the internet. Like I haven't really seen it on the internet. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it was amazing. Okay, so look, I know you've been at Mar-a-Lago. I saw you performing on the stage on a video. I know Trump actually went to speak at a Moon event, which is correct. I looked this up once. Moon actually Trump came to speak at a Moon event, correct?
President Trump. I think what you're referring to is probably an event that my mother led after my father's
Oh, really?
passing.
Okay.
Where I think he sent a video. I don't think he attended. He sent a video,
Okay.
but unfortunately, he wasn't at that time. He was not aware of where the movement went in the other direction. But I know the family has known of, obviously of our family, and he used to be a Democrat, so. We were always, my father was always very heavy with the Republicans attacking the neocons. He was against Bush. He called Bush the king of Satan to his face, especially during the Iraq war. He was totally against that. So he ran he started the Washington Times, which was at the time in the early 80s and 90s. It was it was the beginning of alternative media. So it was even before like Alex Jones, InfoWars, all those guys grew up on the Washington Times. And the Washington Times was like the only alternative voice other than New York Times, LA Times, Chicago Tribune, to those Washington Post, to those liberal outlets. The Washington Times was the only like conservative newspaper, like national newspaper. So that was started by my father, and that's why they hated him so much. Really, they hated him because he wasn't just a preacher that stayed in his lane. He would speak out against, our theology was very clear that God is not just a God that is separated from everything in the world. He is a God that is active and working in history. And so thus he will be for or against particular movements and or political ideologies, etc., that is antithesis to his kingdom and civilization and principles. You know what I mean? So that's why my father always was so active in politics. But of course, that got him the attack from the different governments or the different political structures.
All right. So look, you've had a lot of access. You were at Mar-a-Lago. Trump has been around. He knows who you are, right? He's aware of what's going on. Are there things you want to get done with the Trump administration?
Well, we're just praying for the Trump administration. They're doing such a phenomenal job. I think in the first 100 days, they're moving so quick. They're delivering on a lot of promises. people definitely is getting angry at like Cash Patel and Pam Bondi because they're not moving fast on the Epstein stuff and all this kind of stuff. But I think they're just it's hundreds of thousands of people that they have to get through, and there's so many layers to the organization of corruption and the pedo rings and all this kind of stuff that the biggest sex trafficking ring that any government has been running is the U.S. right. So it's like it's a giant illegal criminal organization, and President Trump, for us, we're just so grateful that he's delivering on a lot of the promises that he ran on.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 2A community, because we're big in the 2A community as well, like he's delivering in the 2A world. He's really delivering very, very well. So in the 2A world, we're very, very thankful, very happy about him protecting those fundamental self-defense rights. But also, what he's doing with China, I think, is unbelievable. The Chinese internally we can get into it a little more detail, but there's a lot. The CCP is really being kind of exploded right now. I would say in three major ways, but President Trump is doing a phenomenal job. I think in the first 100 days, he's delivering more than than he did last in his 2016 term. And so I think it's very exciting, and we're just praying for his safety and his continued work for the American people.
I agree with that. That's cool. All right. So look, to tell you the truth, you're much more, been around the world, stuff like that. Once again, you graduated from Harvard. You had Gorbachev at your house, right? This is so the thing is that right now, how do you feel about what's going on in Korea? The president got impeached. What's your viewpoint of that? You probably have some thoughts.
Yes, I think Korea it's tied into the larger geopolitical scheme, because in Korea the leftist power, by the Democrat, the quote, let's just say Democrats and Republicans, just for the sake of ease of just the example. But the Democrats in Korea are very tied in with the pro-Chinese lobby. So they're Jeju, for example, is almost all bought up by the Chinese. Just like they're buying up land in America. The Chinese also invest in different nations to buy up political lobbies and stuff like that. So they've been doing that with the left. So all the people on the left side or the Democrat side in Korea, they're very, very heavy pro-Chinese. And I think since President Trump is devastating the CCP in, I would say, three major ways. President Trump, is killing the CCP with the tariffs that he's putting on, the 245%, et cetera. And also the second way I would say he's really destroying China is he's stopping the world wars. China, if you know the history, in order to stay together, because they use so much brute force to keep their nation together, they have to have an external enemy when things get too crazy and people start complaining about the government. And they say Koreans are hot-headed. Chinese are also hot-headed too. When they get upset, the kung fu lineage start coming out. But you know what I mean. So
I'm also fascinated by another phenomenon. I want to ask you about your opinion on this, right? Because now the thing is that right now we can say that the U.S. has like a lot of concern about what's going on in Israel, Palestine, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that Korea's on the same timeline. There's been other atrocities that have happened in Korea, right? After the Korean War, that are not really talked about here or really provoke the same amount of concern, like famine, things like that, that were really kind of like glossed over and forgotten. Why do you think, or how can we get our issues addressed? I mean, I think it's to work like your own, right? Like developing these relationships over here. I'm a big fan of your work, so I really like what you're doing. Yeah. With politically, yeah, I think we have to get involved. So I appreciate that. Also, I want to ask you about there's probably I would say the most highest profile Korean American is this person named Yeonmi Park. What do you think about Yeonmi Park?
Oh, I think she's phenomenal. I think she really tells the story of her experience in North Korea, and being sex trafficked and all this kind of terrible
Have you ever reached out to her? Have you ever reached out to her?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
I'll email her and I'll email her and you. It's voice of NK at like gmail.com or something like that. And I'll ask her to have you on her show.
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Yeah,
you're a
yeah.
good fit.
Yeah, no, I'm very appreciative of the work just that she does. I mean, she brings it to a young audience and a broad audience, you know what I mean? And the realities of communism on the ground,
Yeah.
because she was being trafficked and all this kind of stuff by the Korean government, by the North Korean government, etc. And yeah, I'm very, very appreciative of her work. 100%.
Have you ever looked into like the organization that she's affiliated with, that Casey Lartigue guy? Casey
I'm sorry, say that again.
There's like some kind of organization she came out from that has like other like Korean American, like, you know, his name's Casey Lartigue. I forgot the name of the organization, but they have these things coming out.
No, I haven't heard that.
Okay. Have you ever heard of this guy called Chris On?
Chris rings a bell.
Okay. Here's this guy. He's this guy who like he was formerly in the military, US military, and then he went to Spain, and then he like tried to crack into the embassy, and then I think that they were going to ship him back to Spain to go to prison or to get deported to North Korea, right? That was so he was supported by someone named over here in New York City. There's some Washington Times guy, and he's definitely related to CIA because he's with Council of Foreign Relations, and some lady named Sumi Terry. Did you hear about her? She got arrested for being a spy, a Korean spy.
I think I've heard of that. When was this? Was this happening in the early 2000s? Or is this recent?
Yeah, pretty recently. Sumi Terry. I'll actually share on the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, there's all the kinds of rabbit holes. I know you're like doing a lot of your own work, and I mean, I've been so busy, I haven't really been able to get busy like that. But I'll share it on the screen. And her husband is also someone of interest too. I actually did a lot of work with you know, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like a big fan of Tulsi Gabbard. I was doing a lot of work with the campaign here in New York, and so I was following her. And she said the guy. Oh, I remember the guy's name. His name is Max Boot. Her husband's name is Max Boot. And Max Boots, you can see Sumi Terry is a Korean American scholar of international relations. She's on Council of Foreign Relations. She served as the CIA intelligence analyst specializing in East Asia. So she's been on all these channels. She's part of the university system. I believe the university system is really, working with all these things as well. And the thing is that Tulsi Gabbard said that Max Boots' policies are exactly wrong for America. She's mentioned him specifically. I can even show you, right? And that was interesting. So we're going to see what this Max Boot, Sumi Terry. Okay.
So is she related? Does she work with? Yeah. She worked with Yumby Park. Is that what?
No, not at all. I don't think they've crossed paths. But Max Boot called Trump a foreign asset. Now his wife is Sumi Terry. Got arrested for being a spy, right? But this was before Trump took office. I think this is Max Boot. So
okay.
Well, yeah, I went to an event of his and I was like asking him about it, but he didn't answer the question. So,
okay.
Well.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
No, they're definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of I think I heard the estimates. North Korea is going to be the same, but like China has about 50,000 different assets. Female agents that they send to Japan. So Korea is going to be probably in a 30 to 40,000 range. Taiwan's going to be, probably in that range or more. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different, quote, intelligence assets that work for those different communist governments.
Yeah, I actually have a playlist on my channel that just talks about like digging into like these little rabbit holes and like about Korean stuff, like, what is going on? Because so much you don't know. Honestly, the moon story is amazing, and I'm just I was already like impressed by what I'd seen in like the Harvard Religious School, but I wish they talk about that on that documentary because that's an amazing story right there.
Like we're going to be in August. We're headed to South Korea for a rally with. We're bringing General Flynn. He's coming with us to South Korea, and then also Japan in early August, just to give the South Koreans and the Japanese conservative movement a little encouragement and a boost. So yeah, we're actually going to be going back to the Far East very soon to support both in South Korea, Japan.
Have you heard of a guy called Young Suk Won?
Young Suk Won.
He's like the largest Korean American political YouTuber. I actually
Okay.
brought him on for like when I did like an AAPI for Trump event. Next time I do an AAPI for Trump, you're definitely invited. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had candidates from all over the country, and actually, your relationships in Pennsylvania, key swing state, right? The
Yeah,
most important swing state is actually very valuable, right? Any relationships you have there,
it's
and it's
critical. Yeah,
yeah,
Pennsylvania is
oh yeah,
very, yeah,
yeah.
keystone.
I have friends there as well, right? Because it's just high interest. So I
Yeah,
also have developed relationships in Wisconsin, other swing states. Oh yeah, I've
right.
seen you traveling across the country, right? Like supporting different national, agendas for that's really cool.
Oh
Did
yeah.
you go to Asia CPAC? Because I think Young Suk One was there. Did you go to Asia
No, I
CPAC?
didn't. I didn't go to Asia CPAC. No.
It's all good. Yeah, like I didn't make it out there either. Like it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so amazing, amazing. So by the way, so your story right there about the moon stuff, is there like a good documentary that you recommend for people to like learn about this stuff? How can people learn about the moon story?
Well, there's a lot. I would say there's a lot of different documentaries about it, but I think if it comes from like these known leftist organizations, I would just say just take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
They don't like us because my father was very strong, Christian conservative. You know what I mean? So, and he was
If there isn't one that exists, I'd be honored to make a documentary with I'd make it with you. You know, I mean, if you want, you could tell the story the way that you think it should go. You
yeah,
should make it yourself. You have your own team. You should make a documentaries in your own words.
yeah. I mean, I mean, I think we've cataloged a lot of the things that our father has done. That's it's like we have a web page for it. We have a web site for our movement, our church, etc. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of hit pieces that have been done on us, and I would say basically just know the organizations that is doing the hit piece, or the documentary, because if it has ties with the far left, they're definitely going to hate us because, I mean, like I said, he was not nice to the communist agenda. He was extremely, he really preached out against that very, very strong. So,
Why do you
and
think communism is so popular with these young Korean Americans?
well, I think there's a lot of it's conditioning, in the public school system under the Department of Education federalized programs, which was, brought in really by the, Prussian education system of the of the youth in Germany that they were doing at the time, and it's really propagandizing the youth to believe in an anti-freedom, anti-free markets, centralized, controlled economy. This kind of teaching is very early on within the school systems in general. I mean, most of your school teachers in either public or private, it really doesn't matter now. Is going to be left. Is going to be left leaning. And so there's just I think a lot of influence coming from the federal programs and stuff like that is kind of brainwashing the young people. And in America, everybody has it kind of good. Even the people in the middle class, compared to other countries, is living very well. And so with prosperity comes, of course, I think a captivation with a potential of Marxism. Hey, maybe we can have a continual welfare state where we get just free income and free healthcare, and really we don't have to work. And this kind of idealism can be kind of become like a alluring, you know what I mean, like attractive to the young person that really doesn't know what to do with their life, maybe doesn't have meaning or purpose in their life. And Marxism kind of really is a religion. Like, you're the savior. It's not Jesus or it's not Christ as a savior, but like, you're the savior by joining in the communist movement. You become the savior of the, against the evil capitalists and against the evil the people's greed, the greedy people, etc. So you kind of save the world, but unfortunately, it never plays out that way. You end up becoming the most tyrannical system on the planet. So
Yeah,
unfortunately, yeah, the promises don't line up with reality.
yeah. I'm actually giving a presentation on that topic with Project Civica. That's coming up. So I'm
Yeah,
sorry, folks. I know, like, it sounds odd that, like, any ideology that I could really be against it, because, like, I do it like the mixed martial arts philosophy, where you can use a lot of different styles, and I usually say, like, it's okay, right, to use this tool for that job or that tool for this job, but communism, just in my direct experiences with it, even though I was open to it as a child, right, because I wasn't ever taught that it was bad, I was willing to give it a shot, but I've been consistently disappointed with it. I'm telling you, that the centralized control of it and the philosophy of it, to really give up your own freedom and identity,
yeah,
is extremely disturbing. So I just, I'm not saying that, if I'm not saying that if you believe in communism that you're a bad person, right? Like, I just want you to start looking more carefully at what's going on, and see if this is happening, right? Like, it happens a lot in these groups. I just want you to really see for yourself. So I'm sorry that I have to
yeah.
be, if you're communist, you feel offended, right? I really want you to just start re-examining what you're doing, because I didn't have a prejudice against it when I first started. I really was open to it, but I have practical experience about it being very, no good. So,
Yeah, I mean, you're in the city, so you see it. You see
oh,
it
yeah,
when
please
all the
break free,
centralized
my
control.
people. Yeah, you don't
All the
see any
cent-
Koreans. There's no Koreans from New York on my show, because they're all, like, affiliated with the communists,
yeah,
and they don't allow free thought. Look, I don't hate y'all Koreans out here. I'm telling you right now. I'm sorry to say it, right? That's why I reached out to the Unitarian Trios. Maybe they hang out with me, right? But I'm telling you that the Koreans are highly influenced by PSL. I don't know if you heard of them, Nodotul, right? I'm not saying, like, I think the people they're meeting were bad, because I met the Koreans over there, but they're not allowed to have a conversation with me.
yeah,
That's ridiculous.
yeah. No, 100%. That's like, I think the Koreans are, they're socially conservative in terms of their family, valuing family and all this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, when they get over here and in the states, then a lot of them vote left. They vote for the welfare programs. They try to milk the system. I mean, that's the reality. I mean, with a lot of the
It's the
different
schools,
communities
man.
that's coming in. Yeah,
Yeah.
schools. Yeah, the schools
And right
brainwash
here,
the kids.
locally, schools are the biggest source of, actually, New York City spends more on schools than
Yeah,
police, fire, and was it police, fire, and prisons combined. The thing is
right.
that we have to really just, and you know how expensive prisons are for people to stay in them. The fact of the matter is that they're milking our love for our children, and they're
Yeah,
abusing it and stealing the money, and they're not
exactly.
doing right by our kids at all.
Exactly. The administrators get the money. I think every federal program, the average is 74% goes to administration, 26% goes to the actual thing. So for every dollar, you're only getting 26 cents to the actual person or the issue, and then 74% of that is going to administrative, bureaucracy. So that's obviously it's a racket.
I'd like to share with you some good news. Now, the thing is that here in New York State, the thing is that there's a Senate district that the Democrats try to create, right? Because the Democrats love DEI, right? So
Yeah.
they created an Asian American district in Brooklyn, the very first one in New York
Oh,
State history.
really?
Yeah. Okay. So, right, they built it for their friends. So it was blue at first. After just one term, it flipped red. You could
Wow.
look at
Praise
his
God.
name, Steve Chan, right? Just one term, because the thing is that they tried to dump a whole bunch of, like, homeless shelters into the community, but
Oh,
they already did it to Manhattan Chinatown, right?
yeah.
And yeah, so the thing is that in Brooklyn that wasn't going to fly. So
Wow.
they're actually still protesting the longest and largest mobilization of Asian Americans in New York City history, but this is
Really?
not being reported by the media. Look at your own history, right? You did all this fantastic stuff. I had no idea. There's fantastic things going on right now that the press doesn't give a damn about,
They
because
won't touch it.
Andrew Yang, I'm not anti-white, but his whole staff is white, because all the Asian Americans quit when he sold out after Iowa. But this is not reported by the press.
Yep. Yep. No,
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
It's an honor to meet you, man. I'm so excited. So maybe I don't know when's the next time you ever plan on coming to New York?
I don't go down New York, because we're big gun people, so we don't like disarming. We're going to New York.
Oh yeah, they're very, very strict
But
about the gun
yeah,
law.
it's so crazy. I mean, I hope President Trump passes the reciprocity,
When's the next time
national reciprocity.
you go to Philadelphia?
I'm gonna. Yep. Yep. Good. you know,
But
Philly and
that's a quick. When are you going? Maybe we'll meet up. I go out there.
oh
I
yeah,
have other allies out there.
yes sir, yes sir. You know, I I'm overseas for the next couple months,
Oh, cool.
but we have a
Whatever,
big
man.
like yeah, we got a big event coming up in October. It's the yearly Rotterdam Freedom Festival that we run in Pennsylvania. It's the biggest open carry event in the whole country, and we
Oh,
get
word.
5 to 10,000 folks through there every year. And
Okay.
you know, you know, they got big gun range there. We got vendors. It's like a huge party. We got Asian food with the food trucks. It's like, you know, we're in the
Oh, I
sticks,
want
but
to
it's not.
come. I gotta come
Yeah,
there.
man,
Sounds like a great
we're in
time.
the sticks like Falun Gong folks, like the Chinese folks, like Falun Gong, the people that oppressed by the CCP. They also come to our event. You know, even though they're Buddhist, they come to our event. You know, and support because we're so anti-CCP and communism in general. And so, you know, it's not just like you know,
Amazing. Okay.
yeah, you not only get like, you know, barbecue and like and you know, tacos and burgers, which we love, but also you're gonna get, you know, there's also all sorts of Asian food trucks that come in too for that as well. So it's a really fun event. There's kids airsoft and just you know, we work with the Friends of the NRA there as well, just to increase gun safety, etc., firearm safety, and all this kind of stuff. So it's a wonderful event. General Flynn is coming this September, October, to the event in Pennsylvania again. He's coming back, and also Roseanne Barr is coming on Sunday
Oh,
of
what?
the event.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
Oh, you're patched in, bro.
yeah, man.
But
You got to come. You definitely got to
wait,
come.
why is it? Roseanne Barr should have you on her show, man. Why doesn't she ever have you on? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Roseanne's coming. She's come.
Yeah, that's dope though.
It's
I'm
yeah, man. You definitely
thrilled.
got to come.
Definitely coming. I'm
Yeah,
definitely
swing
coming.
by, man. You're gonna
Sounds
enjoy
like
it.
a great
And then,
time. All
yeah,
right, I'm
yeah,
down. I want to link you up with other people in Philly. Yeah,
yes,
that's
sir.
cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we have kind of our main church in Pennsylvania, so a lot of our folks work with Scott Pressler and the different folks up there in PA.
That's
Yeah.
actually, you know what? Actually, I was just about to mention that because remember I told you about the state assembly flipping in Brooklyn. So
Hmm.
now, so the thing is that we're trying to flip Manhattan Chinatown,
Yeah.
and then I think that might make the news. They really don't like to report on so many things, but if we kept flipping, right? Yeah, like districts that are Chinatowns from blue to red, or like Asian
Yeah.
American communities from blue to red. I think that it could be a news story, and I think it would be really cool to like empower Asian Americans and Korean Americans in the Republican Party
Yes.
community.
Yes. Yeah. Like you said, like just because all the Koreans try to force you to vote left or vote, you know, blue, you don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like the black community, the black awakening also happened. Like just because you're black, you don't have to vote Democrat. It's the same thing with the Korean, the Chinese community. Just because you're, you know, I know we think in terms of tribe and family first, you know, and like our tribe and our ethnicity first. Like in the Asian culture, that's pretty strong because of tribal mentality. But like you're not you if you our parents, a lot of our parents fled the places that the Democrat in America is supporting, the same systems that they're supporting. Our parents fled those nations. You know what I mean? If you're from Vietnam, if you're from, you know, North Korea, if you're from China, these are big communities. I mean, our parents fled those places because the exact reason was the centralized, you know, governmental power, which the Democrats and the neocons is always trying to make. So we have a voice. The Asian Americans, we have a voice. We can actually make a huge difference, but we have to be able to say, look, just because we choose to support Republican or those kind of freedom-based values doesn't mean you're going against your ancestors or your race or your, you know what I mean, your whole tribe. You are thinking for yourself in the best interest, really, for everybody, because if we lose the freedom, we lose everything, and it turns into exactly what our parents fled.
Yeah. What also like Korea reunification, right? What do you think about some North Koreans wish that they would just take out Kim Jong-un. That's the most common thing. I don't know if that would work because probably right after that, his generals might launch the nukes. I don't know, right? He may have a dead man switch or, from what I understand, what I'm told, I don't believe anything, but supposedly they're educated from a young age to hate America.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a possibility for peace as in terms of Korea it's really sad to see our people on the forefront of nuclear war, which is not discussed for some reason. Because I swear to God that these communists are actually the main leaders in the anti-war movement, and they are robbing war victims and stealing from. You don't even see Russia or Ukrainian war victims. It's a bunch of celebrities and politicians who are not connected to war in any way. It's disgusting.
Yeah, no, I think in the whole Korea situation, it's tied in very heavy with the CCP, because basically North Korea doesn't act unless it gets permission from the CCP. So it's basically kind of like a vassal state of the CCP. And so right now the CCP is in tremendous chaos. They had their largest joint military exercise in the beginning of this month surrounding Taiwan, and it failed miserably. They actually had to shut it down, and it shows the total top-down, lethargic kind of totalitarian and hierarchical organization military that they have, which is not only militarily untested, but it's very slow. So China is getting demolished by the tariffs that President Trump is hitting them with, and I think this is all having an impact on North Korea, because if China is out of the picture and they go free, or they're able to be free and liberated, that is going to force North Korea to follow, and all of Asia. Really, you see right now. I don't know if you know, but like the biggest pro-China nations like Singapore, Malaysia, Cambodia, and Vietnam all basically turned their back against Xi Jinping, and they line up with Trump right now. So they're openly criticizing Xi Jinping, which was never done under Biden. So every one of them is lining up with Trump. Xi Jinping just made it illegal to use Boeing planes. Boeing, the American company.
Yeah,
the Boeing
yeah,
plane.
I heard about that. Yeah,
yeah, and then only he can ride it.
Only he can ride it.
Yeah, only he can ride one. But all the airlines are getting crushed. But not only that, there's a 4-year wait on Boeing planes, and India stepped up and Russia stepped up, said we'll buy them right away and we'll help Trump make the Iranian deal to make peace in the Middle East. So now Russia's turning their back on China. India obviously is standing with America, and also Brazil is now lining up with America. So everybody is turning against China right now. So that is going to put massive influence on the Koreas, both North and South Korea. The commies in the South, in the North and the South, they have a lot less power if there's a China that's being exploded from within, basically. And that is that if China gets freed, Korea becomes a lot higher potential for them to be totally liberated.
Okay. Also, there's this, I hear in the news, it sounds very concerning that Korea has like the lowest birth rate in the world and could like die off as a people. I feel kind of like worried about that. Do you have any thoughts about that, or maybe solutions?
It's feminism, brother. It's feminism. That's the Marxism panties is what it's called. Right? Feminism, and also you see that in China as well because of the one-child policy. But feminism in the South Korea really has made it's prioritized career and money over family and relationships and children and marriage and stuff like that. So if you get away from that as a culture, you're not gonna be able to replace yourself, and you're gonna just go out of existence. So the feminist doctrines that have made very angry, man-hating women in the West, and now all the men don't want to date the Western women no more. They're going to like the Philippines and like Thailand to get a wife. It's the same problem as in South Korea. A lot of the elites that was educated in the West, they came back to Korea. They led the democratic parties there. They became powerful. They used the universities, et cetera, to push feminism heavy. And so you have a whole generation of young girls that think they don't need a man, that think they can do it all on their own, and just money and materialism and hedonism will satisfy their heart, and it will not, because God didn't make us that way. We need relationship with Him. We need deep intimacy with a spouse, and of course with our children. And that's how humanity just continues on, and ancestry is built.
I watched some content about Korea and like the feminist movement out there. And, just so you know, like, I think they call it the 3 Bs or something. I have 3 Ps or something, but like that supposedly comes from Korea, right? They're the sex war out there is furious. It's pretty it's worth looking into and watching videos about it, because there is a serious, like, supposedly this motion, like this pinch sign, is also very, people can get canceled just for doing that particular motion. So there's a whole, like, there's a bunch of documentaries that talk about, right, feminism and how it's a vicious fight out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal, you know, because it disrupts. I mean, feminism, even with its mothers and matriarchs here in America, the whole purpose was of course, they were tied in with the CIA, but the big purpose of it was to get the double incomes, to get the taxation, to increase the size of government. But not only that, but to also disrupt the nuclear family so the people are more controllable and isolated. So it really is a Marxist communist strategy to attack the marriage and family traditional values. And that's why even during the Cultural Revolution in China and also North Korea, they would go after families hard. You know, they would make the parents, the children, you know, do the struggle session on the parents and curse them and spit on them and even kill them. And those people will be elevated in the Communist Party. Right. So they actually want to disrupt and destroy traditional families, traditional marriages, traditional households, and then have them worship the state instead, of course, which becomes slavery. So I think, you know, Korea now is comprised about 30% Christian, including Catholic and Protestant together as a whole. So it has a strong foundation of Christianity and a strong philosophical foundation for liberty and freedom through Christianity. But at the same time, it's battling that feminism, you know, that's selling hedonism, it's selling sex, it's selling money instead of relationship, you know, which sometimes can be hard, but that's the whole purpose. You know, that's why when it works, it's such a beautiful, precious gem. But it takes that work, you know, to do. Yeah.
One of the things that the Moons are known for is kind of like mass marriages.
Yeah.
Was that like an attempt to, like, kind of like, I don't know, maybe they foresaw this problem, maybe
Yes.
is that like
you know, Father Moon, they want to make, you know, the commies attack families and try to destroy marriage. And so
why would that's why. Okay, I was going to ask why do they do the mass marriage?
Yes, the mass weddings are like it's an attack against what we see as Satan's system, right? So he's trying to destroy marriage, but God is trying to build up marriage. And these marriages are not just like based on, you know, just on you know, our own, like just desires for one another, but many of the cases of the marriages, they were of enemy countries. So some were Japanese, some were Korean, which were Japanese colonized our people, made us slaves, right? So we were slaves under Japanese, we were slaves under Chinese and Manchus, Mongols, 5,000 years of slavery for the Koreans. And the Mono period was Japanese, right? And my father was even imprisoned under the Japanese when they colonized Korea. But he through marriage, he said, you know, we have to practice not only loving our neighbor, we have to also practice getting rid of the enmity and the hatred. So through the marriages of cross-cultural marriages, the children would love both Korea and Japan. And so the healing could start taking place, you know. And, you know, I think the weddings were, it's like he saw that as God's instrument of attack against Satan's attack, which was to destroy marriages and destroy family. You know, God wants to strengthen marriage and actually increase marriage, you know, spread marriage and matrimony, and also strengthen family as well, you know. So
that's cool. I see a lot of synergies between the MAGA movement and this movement over here. Yeah. I also appreciate the fact that I looked online and said that Steve Bannon went to talk at one of your events. Just so you know, I prefer Steve Bannon to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. And maybe you like those guys, but I really prefer Steve Bannon to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy myself.
Yeah, Steve Bannon's, he's an OG, man. He's so phenomenal. You know, he doesn't come to our events personally because he has some health issues. But he taps in like every year. He sends videos and he taps in live sometimes. He calls in live and we'll have him on the stage, but he's live from his studio.
Cool.
But yeah, no, he's a super patriot, and he was actually incarcerated in the same prison that my father was, that the Democrats put our daddy in Danbury, Connecticut. So he just got out. Yeah.
Why was your dad put in prison?
Well, they said tax evasion, but it was like $1,000. So obviously, he was a powerful and growing, religious movement in America, and a very powerful voice with the Washington Times in D.C. and through New York, etc. So it was definitely clearly political targeting. If you go, it's like the J6ers, you all know. If you do anything that's against the establishment, when the Democrats are in power, especially, they'll come after you. They will come after you.
The Clintons openly did this. The Clintons openly used the IRS to tax levies. Yeah.
I mean, look what they did to Trump, right? I mean, they used all the apparatus against him.
They took all his stuff. They took his buildings. They took his business. They really. Well,
yeah.
now it's turning back on him. I don't know if you heard about Letitia James. You know who that is?
What was that?
You heard of? You know who Letitia James is?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so it's flipping right back on him.
Yeah, the AG. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. So before you mention the website, what's the website? What's the official website that people should visit to learn more about your church?
Yeah, you can look up rodavireministries.org.
Okay.
That's our main website. You can follow us on I'm on Twitter, King Bullethead, all caps, and also I just started TikTok. It's the same, and on Instagram it's kind of long. And I'm so banned on Instagram, so you have to actually type the whole thing out. It's King Bullethead, Rod of Iron Kingdom. So it's all one word. Okay. It's like it won't. It's. I've showed it.
That's cool, man. I appreciate it. Are you a fan of hip hop, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I like Christian hip hop.
Have you ever heard of someone named DJ Qbert?
No, I haven't. No, not DJ.
Oh,
Qbert.
No,
he's New York City based.
No, he's from San Francisco.
Okay,
but the thing is that actually he's Filipino, and he's actually the best scratcher in the world. His crew won 3 world titles, and he got canceled for saying Trump is cool from the hip hop community. But he's right. You might want to reach out to him because he's really the best DJ in the. You could look him up. Yeah, he won multiple world titles, and he was actually 3 years in a row his crew won, and it was just accepted that he was just the best. Even now, he's still if you just listen to stuff, it's crazy. But he now scratches like a Pepe mask on and stuff like that. He's essentially been canceled by the But
that's terrible.
There's a lot of talent that's getting thrown away, and that's why Trump once again has the largest vote of minorities, right, in of any Republican in U.S. history. So
I mean, if he gets canceled from that, he could always. There's other communities there's MAGA rap, there's Christian hip hop, and if he works with those artists, he could still get a lot of numbers.
I actually have I may even have the CD here. Let's see if I still have it. Oh, I do. Oh my goodness. Yeah. You see this called The Sign of the Times, Elements of Life? This was put out by the American Bible Society, and I have a track on here with Soul Majestics. I have a credit. Really? I have a credit lining there. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Nice. Right? Nice.
There's a guy named Bam, because I'm in New York City, I get to be around all the hip hop legends. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, on my mixtape, I have Curtis Blow, Jazzy J, Frosty Freeze, Crazy Legs. Here in New York, we're doing a show June 6th, and my guy, Lord Caborn, he's running for state assembly. He's actually the first rapper to rap on a Teddy Riley beat.
Oh, okay.
I understand you want to be all times. You probably you could hire security, maybe. Come through New York, man. Hang out, man.
I'm actually in Taiwan, man. I'm in Taiwan.
I'm mad, bro. Live your life.
Yeah, it's we're so busy, but I'm overseas a lot because we have a bigger overseas community too. So
really?
I'm in Korea, I'm in Japan a lot. Yeah. And then
there's
Taiwan.
A community in Taiwan?
Yeah, we're just starting church planting in Taiwan, but we got communities all over Thailand, Philippines, and we've got communities all over.
I had no idea.
Amazing. Yeah, so I'm actually this year I'm probably not going to be in the States a lot, other than in October and stuff like that. I'll be back for probably July, mid-July or some of that. But it's back and forth. Yeah.
Do you have anybody in your crew that makes content or videos or stuff like that?
Oh, what kind of You mean
I want to work with them or link up with them. Yeah, if you have anybody who does like press or things like that, right? You guys have press announcements. I'll be glad to put that on my
oh, I see
newsletter.
what you mean. I see
Right?
what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, Doctor, we have our North American director, Dr. Richard Panzer. They run a show called MAGA Kingdom Report.
Oh,
And I
cool.
definitely love to hook you guys up because they're on the ground in PA constant.
Oh,
And, you know, we work
nice.
with Scott Pressler. We work with, you know, all the PA activists. We know all them folks, you know, they stop through our hub because like our church is like a big hub for all the folks that are fighting political
That's
Satanism, you
great.
know?
I'm trying to sell that right now. I'm trying to say just the way that, Scott Presley turned the Amish community and
Yeah.
had them all vote red. We're trying to transform the Asian American vote and turn it red. So
Yes.
yeah.
I'm definitely going to link you up with Dr. Panzer. Definitely.
Awesome.
Yes,
I'm really
sir.
looking forward
Yes, sir.
to
That'd
that.
be great.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm definitely gonna link you up with the other press guys that I know, including Young Suk One. He's the largest Korean American political commentator on the web, and I think he'll have you on his show. This is amazing, man. I'm just really looking forward to it. So, thanks again, man.
Thank
Anything
you,
else you
brother. I
want to
really appreciate it.
share with the audience? This was amazing. I need time to just. I'm gonna go back and watch this because I want to just.
Well, thank you for
I'm
your work, brother.
thank
You're representing on the streets. You know, you're pounding the streets and the polls and everything, and you're really helping protect and flip New York. And so
I'm in
we're
the Republican County Committee now. I just joined on.
oh wow, God bless you, man. That's so
Yeah.
great. Thank you, brother, for doing that. That's really important. Really important.
Thank you. I'm amazing. And I did not, my mind is blown. All right. I think I'm going to end it there, folks. My mind is just too like exploded by what happened here. I hope you guys enjoy. Big props to Pastor Sean Moon. Amazing. Okay. I'm definitely going to check him more out. I'm really touched by having him on. Thank you so much. This is, for me, this is historically relevant. God bless.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
All right. I just hit end stream. All right.